Hello and welcome to this episode. This topic, we will be discussing one of the hottest topics in international affairs right now, the trade war initiated by Trump. This trade war not only affects the US and China, but also has a significant impact on Europe. We will delve into the background of this trade war, the EU's response strategies, and potential future trends. The Trump administration has been striving to reduce the trade deficit with China through the imposition of tariffs. However, recently, he has turned his attention to the EU. Trump announced plans to impose import tariffs on goods from the EU, primarily to address the trade imbalance. Reports indicate that the US-EU trade deficit reached €156 billion last year. Trump claims that the trade deficit between the US and the EU exceeds $300 billion, approximately €290 billion, and calls it unfair. According to the Financial Times, the US has been imposing tariffs on a variety of goods from the EU to address trade imbalances. These tariffs have caused significant tension between the two trading partners. According to Eurostat data, US-EU bilateral trade in 2019 amounted to approximately $700 billion, with US exports to the EU totaling around $300 billion, and imports from the EU totaling around $400 billion. This resulted in a trade deficit of $100 billion. In response to the US tariff threats, EU leaders convened an emergency meeting in Brussels, stating that they would take collective action and respond robustly. French President Emmanuel Macron stated that Trump's policies are driving the EU to become more united and proactive in addressing security issues. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk believes that a trade war would be a huge mistake and must be avoided at all costs. According to Politico, EU leaders unanimously agreed to take collective action to protect the EU from US tariffs. They also discussed strengthening the EU's economic resilience. If the US imposes tariffs on the EU, it could have a significant impact on financial markets, including stock markets and currency markets. The euro has already fallen by 0.9% against the US dollar, reflecting market concerns. Automotive, pharmaceutical, and machinery sectors are the main exports from the EU to the US, which could be severely impacted. Germany, as the largest manufacturing country in Europe, could be particularly hard hit. Germany has substantial operations in Mexico and has already faced tariff threats. According to CNBC, as trade tensions between the US and the EU escalated, the euro fell significantly against the US dollar. The market reaction underscores the potential economic impact of the tariffs. According to the Federal Statistical Office of Germany, German exports to the US totaled approximately €110 billion in 2019, representing about 10% of Germany's total exports. If the US implements tariffs, this could significantly impact the German economy. Due to the US tariff threats, there are signs that the EU might pivot towards China to seek new trading partners. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen stated in an internal meeting that the relationship between the EU and China is crucial and requires constructive dialogue. She also emphasized that the EU must cooperate with China to find solutions that benefit both parties. Additionally, there are reports suggesting that the EU might leverage the upcoming 50th anniversary of EU-China relations to deepen trade and investment ties. According to the Wall Street Journal, amidst rising US-EU trade tensions, the EU has softened its stance on China. EU leaders have stressed the importance of constructive dialogue with China to address common concerns. According to Eurostat data, EU exports to China totaled approximately €200 billion in 2019, while imports from China totaled approximately €350 billion. This makes China the EU's largest trading partner. The potential benefits and feasibility of Canada joining the European Union have sparked extensive discussions. Despite the geographical distance, Canada's economic structure, values, and political stance share many similarities with EU member states. Canada has abundant natural resources and advanced technological industries, while the EU excels in financial services, high-end manufacturing and services. Both sides can achieve complementarity and mutual benefits in multiple areas. According to The Economist, Canada joining the European Union could further strengthen the trade partnership between the two, making them more competitive in international trade. Currently, Canada is already a significant trading partner of the European Union. Joining the EU would further solidify this partnership, making both parties more economically and politically intertwined. If a trade war erupts, the European Union may perceive the United States as a greater threat than China, potentially altering the existing economic landscape. A trade war could lead to social discontent and political unrest, especially in regions heavily affected by tariffs. European Union leaders are also discussing increasing defense spending to address potential security challenges. Moreover, European Union leaders are considering enhancing internal cooperation to boost their economic and political strength. According to The Economist, US-EU trade tensions could reshape the global economic landscape. The article suggests that these tensions might alter global trade dynamics, with Europe potentially pivoting towards Asia. Reported by International Monetary Fund, if the trade war continues, it could slow global economic growth, especially in export-dependent economies. This would have profound impacts on global supply chains and international trade. Trump's trade war not only affects the US, Canada, Mexico, and China, but also has a significant impact on Europe. The collective action of EU leaders shows that they will not easily succumb to US pressure. However, the long-term impacts of this trade war remain to be seen. We will continue to monitor this topic and provide you with the latest updates. Thank you for watching this episode.